Problem INT 3.3. Water entering at 10 degrees Celsius is heated to 40 degrees Celsius in a tube of 0.02 meter internal diameter at a mass flow rate of 0.01 kg per second. The outside of the tube is covered with an insulated electric heating element that produces an uniform heat flux of 15,000 watt per meter square over the surface. Determine 1. Reynolds number, 2. Heat transfer coefficient, 3. Length of pipe needed for a 30 degrees Celsius increase in average temperature, 4th. The inner tube surface temperature at the outlet, 5th. Friction factor, 6th. The pressure drop in the pipe, 7th. The pumping power required if the pump is 50% efficient. In order to solve this problem, let us first draw the schematic. So, as shown in figure, there is a pipe of finite length L and internal diameter small d. The pipe is provided with an electric heating element that produces Qs watt per meter square of heat flux. Cold water at inlet temperature T infinity I is entering to this pipe at mass flow rate m dot. While the cold water is moving through this pipe, it is being heated by virtue of the heat flux supplied by the electric heating coil, and it leaves at a temperature T infinity O. Obviously, T infinity O is greater than T infinity I because of heating. So this figure represents heat transfer to the water flowing through this tube. After drawing this required schematic, let us enlist all the given things. So in this problem, heat flux is given as 15,000 watt per meter square. Inner diameter of the tube is given as 0.02 meter. Mass flow rate of the water flowing through the tube is given as 0.01 kg per second. Inlet water of the fluid, that is water, is 10 degrees Celsius, and outlet temperature of the water is 40 degrees Celsius. And efficiency of the pump is also given, and it is 50%. After enlisting all the given parameters, let us make some assumptions to solve this problem. Assumption number 1, one-dimensional steady state heat transfer. 2, constant properties of the fluid, that is water. 3, no heat transfer due to radiation from pipe surface to the fluid, that is water. We are considering purely convective heat transfer from pipe surface to the fluid. 4, smooth inner surface of pipe. Any effect of pipe roughness is not taken into account on the heat transfer rate. And fifth assumption, fully developed flow. Step number 4, since the given flow of water through the tube is type of internal flow, hence as per our convention, taking mean bulb temperature MBT as a reference temperature in this case, and mean bulb temperature TB is calculated as average of inlet and outlet temperature of the fluid, that is water in this case. So mean bulb temperature will be 10 plus 40 divided by 2 is equal to 25 degrees Celsius. This mean bulb temperature of 25 degrees Celsius will be taken as reference temperature in the subsequent calculations. After finding out the mean bulb temperature, let us find out the thermophysical properties. So thermophysical properties for water at mean bulk temperature of 25 degrees Celsius can be found out from Heat Transfer Data Book by C.P. Kothandaraman, page number 22. From this table, we can find out the thermophysical properties at 25 degrees Celsius. So many times such intermediate temperatures, thermophysical properties at such intermediate temperatures are not given. So we need to do interpolations. So using the interpolation, we can use this formula to calculate any unknown thermophysical property x, 25 x as 25 degrees Celsius, thermophysical properties at 25 degrees Celsius, thermophysical property at 20 degrees Celsius, then temperature range is equal to thermophysical property at 40 degrees Celsius, thermophysical property at 20 degrees Celsius, and temperature difference 40 and 20. Now why did I take 20 and 40 as lower and upper temperature? That I can help with the help of this property table. So let us refer page number 22 of Heat Transfer Data Book. This is page number 22 actually. It is not mentioned here, but now at this page number 22 of Heat Transfer Data Book, we need to find out the thermophysical properties of water at 25 degrees Celsius. So as you can see here, properties are not given at 25 degrees Celsius. Rather, properties are given at 20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius. So our reference temperature of 25 degrees Celsius will be lying in between these two temperature ranges. So in order to calculate these thermophysical properties at 25 degrees Celsius, we need to interpolate the thermophysical properties between these two temperature ranges. That is why I have taken the reference temperature of 25 degrees Celsius and lower and upper range of temperature as 20 and 40 degrees Celsius, because 25 degrees Celsius temperature is lying in between these two temperatures in the data book table. So I'll be taking these two temperature ranges to calculate thermophysical properties of water like density, kinematic viscosity, thermal diffusivity, Prandtl number, specific heat, and thermal conductivity. So taking the thermophysical properties at 20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius and using this formula for interpolation, I could calculate the thermophysical properties. I have already calculated and written over here. Density as 998.75 kg per meter cube. Kinematic viscosity nu as 0.918 into 10 to power minus 6 meter square per second. Prandtl number as 6350. Thermal conductivity of fluid, that is water, as 0.6054 watt per meter Kelvin, and specific heat of water as 4178 joule per kg Kelvin. So these are the properties at bulk mean temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. So this way you can find out thermophysical properties at any intermediate temperature. After finding out the thermophysical properties of water at reference temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, step number 4 is to identify boundary condition. So in this case, the clear-cut surface temperature of pipe is not given, rather heat flux is given, 15,000 watt per meter square. So in this case, the boundary condition will be constant heat flux boundary condition. Okay. Now next step is to find out Reynolds number, but in the problem it has been asked to calculate Reynolds number and other parameters. So now I will be shifting to directly calculate the parameters asked in the problem. So let us do these calculations one by one. So now point number 1 is asking you to calculate Reynolds number. For internal flow, we represent Reynolds number as Re suffix D. So in order to calculate Reynolds number, in case of water flowing through the pipe, we have this formula, rho into um into LC over mu is equal to um into LC over nu. Here LC is called as characteristics length, and for flow through the pipe, LC will be taken as diameter D for pipe. Putting the value of this LC into this formula, RED becomes UM into D over nu. To calculate the value of Reynolds number, we have been given the value of nu as thermophysical properties. Diameter is also given. However, mean velocity of water is not given. Rather, mass flow rate m dot is given. So um is mean flow velocity, and it can be calculated as m dot over rho into cross sectional area is equal to m dot into rho into cross sectional area of the pipe is pi by 4 d square. So from here I can calculate the value of um as the value of mass flow rate. I can find out from the given parameters, 0.01 kg per second, and density is 998.75 and diameter is 0.0. So UM will be so from here the mean flow velocity comes out 0.032 meter per second. Putting this value of UM into Reynolds number expression, Re suffix D becomes 0.032, diameter is 0.02 over the value of nu, that is kinematic viscosity, is 0.918 into 10 to power minus 6. So 0.918 into 10 to power minus 6. After calculation, the value of Reynolds number comes out 697.17. This will be answer number 1. Now here, based upon the value of Reynolds number, for pipe flow, if Reynolds number is greater than less than 2300, it is laminar flow, and if it is less than 2300, sorry, if for internal flow, if value of Reynolds number is less than 2300, it is laminar flow, and if it is greater than 2300, it becomes turbulent. So in our case, the value of Reynolds number is 2300, hence flow is laminar. So this is the point number 1. Point number 2 is to calculate heat transfer coefficient. So we will be calculating average heat transfer coefficient. Now, before doing this calculation, may I request all of you to write down these formulae first. What these formulae are? All these formulae are to calculate heat transfer rate. Q is equal to H bar AS into TS minus TB. This is nothing but Newton's law of cooling for internal flow, where TS is surface temperature and TB is bulk mean temperature. Another way I can calculate heat transfer rate by m dot Cp T infinity O minus T infinity I. For heat flux boundary condition, heat transfer rate can also be calculated as Qs into As. Please read this as A suffix S, where As is the surface area and it can be given as pi dl. And another way to calculate heat transfer rate Q as H bar As into TSO minus T infinity O, where TSO is surface temperature of the pipe at outlet and T infinity O is fluid temperature at outlet. Now, in order to find out this average heat transfer coefficient, we must find out the expression for Nusselt number, because we have this relationship between Nusselt number and average heat transfer coefficient as H bar into LC over KF. So average Nusselt number can also be written as H bar. For this case, LC will be diameter D over KF. Let's say this is equation number A. Now I have the value of diameter D, thermal conductivity of the water fluid. So if I could calculate the value of Nusselt number, I can easily calculate H bar. Now Nusselt number can be calculated by selecting the appropriate correlation of Nusselt number for internal flow depending upon the given boundary conditions and other conditions. So once again, from heat transfer data book, now page number. So let me refer that heat transfer data book for internal flow. So this is page number 124. I am going to page number 124 initially for internal flow. Now I am supposed to find out the appropriate correlation for Nusselt number. So for that, what are the things or what are the constraints we have? The very first constraint is it is laminar flow. Then we have assumed fully developed flow, and then we have constant heat flux boundary condition. So let us, using these three constraints, try to find out the expression for Nusselt number. So 1.0 tube is for laminar. So all these formulas starting from 1.1 till end are applicable for laminar flow. So laminar flow, fully developed flow and constant heat flux. So all these equation 1.2.1, 1.2.2, 1.2.3, 1.2.4 are not satisfying our conditions. Similarly, 1.2.5, 1.2.6, 1.2.7, it is for laminar flow, fully developed flow and constant heat flux. So from here, I can select this formula because it satisfies all the constraints, that is laminar flow, fully developed flow and constant heat flux. So equation number 1.2.7 and page number is 125. So from this, the expression for Nusselt number, average Nusselt number comes out 4.36. This is equation 1.2.7 on page number 125. Let's say this is equation number B. So from equation A and B, H bar into D over KF equal to 4.36. The value of H bar is to be calculated. Diameter is 0.02 and the thermal conductivity of water I can find out from thermophysical properties 0.6054. 0.6054 is equal to 4.36. From here, the value of average heat transfer coefficient comes out 131.89 watt per meter square Kelvin. So this way I could find out the value of average convective heat transfer coefficient, and this is answer number 2. Now point number 3, length of pipe needed for a 30 degree Celsius increase in average temperature. So I am supposed to calculate length of the pipe. So symbolically I am supposed to calculate L. Now where the L length of the pipe appears, so it appears in the surface area of the pipe. It is pi dl. So basically I am supposed to calculate AS in turn L. Now to calculate the surface area, these 4 equations will be used. So let's say try to find out the probability of using the equation number 1. I have not given the value of Q, rather heat flux value is given. So if I use this formula, equation number 1Q, H bar AS TS minus TB, I can't use it because I don't know the value of TS. Equation number 2, Q is equal to m dot Cp T infinity O minus T infinity I. I have values of all the parameters on the right hand side. What about the Q? I don't have the value of Q, but I have given the value of Qs. So from equation 3, I can replace Q by Qs into As, and Qs is known to me. So combining equation 2 and 3 will serve my purpose, because after combining equation 2 and 3, I can easily calculate As, and once the As is known to me, I can easily calculate length of the pipe. So this way you can use these equations. Why do I recommend all these equations to write down simultaneously? Because whatever juggling or whatever deliberation I have done, whether to select equation 1, 2, 3 or 4, that should be done physically. Don't do these deliberations or juggling of formula into your mind. Write down these formulae on paper and then apply the logic. Which formula can be used or cannot. So from this discussion, I can write from equation 2 and 3, and what is that? Q is equal to Qs into As into m dot Cp T infinity O minus T infinity I, where Qs is 15,000, As is pi into D is 0.02, length is to be calculated, mass flow rate is 0.01, Cp I have to refer thermophysical properties, it is 4178 for water, at 25 degrees Celsius reference temperature. Outgoing temperature is 40 and inlet temperature is 10. So after calculating, the value of L comes out 1.33 meter. This will be answer number 3. Then answer number 4. Point number 4. The inner tube surface temperature at the outlet. So if this is the tube, so it is asking to calculate surface temperature Ts at outlet, and the outlet temperature of fluid is T infinity O. So basically the problem is asking to calculate surface temperature at the outlet. Now once again, to calculate this TSO, once again we have 4 set of equations. So equation 1 I can't use, equation 2 I can't use, equation 3 I have to use because I know the value of AS and QS, so I can calculate Q. Now H bar AS into TSO minus T infinity O. So equation number 4 contains this term TSO. So I can use equation 3 and 4 combinedly. Why I am taking all these equations? Q is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 because under steady state condition heat transfer rate will be same, whether it is represented by equation 1, 2, 3 or 4. The rate of heat transfer will be 4. So from equation 3 and 4, what are those equations? Q is equal to QS into AS is equal to H bar into AS TSO minus T infinity O. This will get cancelled. QS is 15,000 watt per meter square. The value of H bar we have just calculated as 131.89. TSO to be calculated, and T infinity O is 40. So from here the value of surface temperature of tube at the outlet comes out 153.73 degrees Celsius. This is answer number 4. Then point number 5. Friction factor. Friction factor is represented by small f. So once again I will be referring data book. initially page number 124. So if I refer page number 124 for internal flow, so 1.1 F is equal to 64 over RED, where F is called as friction factor. So this way I can calculate friction factor, this expression. F is equal to 64 over RED for laminar flow. So from this, the value of friction factor is 64 over RE suffix D, and this is nothing but equation 1.1, page number 124. So we have the value of Reynolds number as, let me refer this value, 697.17. So from here the value of friction factor comes out 0.0918. Answer number 5. Then point number 6. The pressure drop in the pipe and the pumping power required if the pump is 50% efficient. So the point number 6 is pressure drop. Let us check whether this pressure drop formula is given in the data book or not. So for internal flow, F is equal to delta PF over rho into L by D UM square by 2, where delta PF is pressure drop due to friction. I am talking about this formula. So this formula shows the relationship between friction factor and pressure drop. Friction factor value just now we have calculated. We know the value of rho L D UM. So this way I can calculate pressure drop. So from this data book, once again from HT data book, and page number 124, we have this relationship. F is equal to delta P over rho into L by D into UM square by 2. Let me check once again. Yes, this is the formula. After putting the value of friction factor as 0.0918 delta P, the value of density I could remember as 998.75. The value of L 1.33 meter. Density, let me refer, yes, 998.75, and the value of L as 1.33 meter. So the length is 1.33 meter, diameter is 0.02 meter, and the value of mean flow velocity is 0.032 whole square by 2. So after calculating this, the value of pressure drop comes out 3.12 Newton per meter square, and this will be answer number 6. So many of the formulae are given in the data book. The only thing is you know how to use the data book. Then seventh number is pump work required. So we have this relationship. The theoretical pump work required is given by, this is the theoretical work or ideal pump work. And it is given as m dot over rho into delta P. This formula is not given in the data book. You are supposed to remember this. So W pump theoretical or ideal, mass flow rate value is given as 0.01 kg per second. Density is 998.75 and pressure drop just now we have calculated is 3.12. So from here the ideal or theoretical pump work required is 3.12 into 10 to power minus 5 watt. But I am supposed to calculate actual pump work. So efficiency of the pump is given as, efficiency is always taken as low value to the high value. So when pump is operating ideally without friction, theoretical pump work required will always be lesser. So W dot pump will be, theoretical will be ideal work and actual will be always more than the ideal one because of friction. So efficiency of the pump is given as 0.5. Theoretical or ideal work required by pump is 3.12 into 10 to power minus 5. So actual pump work will be, I can calculate from here, W dot pump actual will be 6.25 into 10 to power minus 5 watt. This will be answer number 7. So this way I can solve this problem.